my Supreme Court judgment came down on the 21st of November. Miere, L-E-M-I-E-R-E, the Supreme Court judge. And any media out there, print media or television media, reports on this Supreme Court judgment, 2014 WASC 432, Van Lieshout versus Kelly. You need to give my side of the story before you publish anything about this, and my side of the story is this. This judgment by Miere is full of lies and garbage, and he deserves to be sacked, along with the magistrate in the lower court, Fremantle Magistrate Court, Steven Ross Malley, whom I already did a video about. He also deserves to be sacked, along with all the other political and government men involved in doing this to me. Not only do they deserve to be sacked, the Supreme Court judge and the magistrate in the Fremantle Magistrate Court, they deserve to go to jail, along with all the other political and government men involved in this, because they have wasted millions of dollars of public money trying to destroy my life and lock me up for nothing, because I won't give money to the government, because they forcibly come onto my property and clamp my car in the driveway of my own home, trespassing, no paperwork provided, after they had extorted the amounts up 560%, using violence to do what they do, and I cut it off. It's at the tip, and they're trying to put a stealing charge onto me. I haven't stolen anything. They've stolen from me. The government transported that clamp to the tip. The council did, in the rubbish bin, off my property after it was forcibly put on there. And they stole over $10,000 from me, the government, when I was forced to sell my home because of all the violence, not because of the money, because of the violence. And they stole my research equipment, 2 laptops, an external hard drive video camera, which they have not returned, so that's stealing. They assaulted me at the front of my home, and 2 of the police officers involved in that were transferred to remote community areas, including Adam David Kelly. He's going to burn in hell, along with all the other government men involved in this. They all should be jailed. They all should be jailed. All the political and government men involved in this should be jailed. There's about 100 politicians in the WA Parliament, 59 in the lower house, and about 42 or 3 in the upper house. About 100. They all deserve to be jailed. Because for years they've been killing Australians. They've been killing people, torturing Australians, stealing, lying. They rape women and children. They pedophile children. There was a Royal Commission report published in 2008, Western Australia. Every Australian should watch the Channel 7 broadcast on that. It's a 1,000-page report, a $30 million Royal Commission spanning 20 years in Western Australia that proves, it was done under Jeff Gallop, that proves that the police in Western Australia have killed people, raped women, engaged in drug trafficking and dealing, fraud, stealing, treason, all sorts of violent criminal activity, which all of them should be sacked. There should be no men working in the police. It should be all women. There should be all women politicians and in government positions. There's about 1,000 political and government men in Western Australia who deserve to go to jail. That's all the politicians, that's about 100. Senior government, mostly men, about 90% of the political and government people involved are men, and about 10% are women. They all deserve to go to jail. And I can guarantee most of them are members of the Liberal Party. That's how evil and corrupt they are. They get away with killing people, stealing, torturing people, thousands of people that they lock up for nothing. They steal from the public, they use violence, they rape and pedophile. They're monsters. They're absolute satanic evil monsters. They kill people in government facilities. You know, when Australians die in government facilities, whether they be prisons, psychiatric facilities, hospitals, when they die of unnatural causes, and also aged care facilities where they're killing elderly people with psychiatric drugs, chemical compounds which are poisonous, and for 200 years they've been doing that all over the world, torturing people. When you lock people up in whatever government facility for no reason or minor reasons, that's torture in the first instance, and then they torture them again while they've got them locked up. They forcibly give dangerous psychiatric treatments, ECT, psychosurgery, injections of chemical compounds. They kill Christians in Australia, the government does, the politicians and their government workers, because I've been told by their victims and other professional people working in those places that when their victims talk about God and Jesus, they go drug them even more. So you've got satanic atheists working in those positions, killing Christians. That's the politicians' fault, all of them. Liberal politicians, Labor politicians, Greens and Nationals. They all deserve to be jailed. We need to have a human rights court in Australia. I want the Fremantle Magistrates Court abolished and converted to a human rights court to put all of these political and government men and women on public trial. It will be easy to prove because every Australian knows a family member or friend who has died in a government facility. When Australians die in government facilities, whether they be prisons, psychiatric facilities, hospitals or aged care facilities, and in the community when they die as a direct result of the political made law and government action, it's political government murder. And in each state of Australia, the death figure is in the thousands. And when you look across the nation, the death figure is in the tens of thousands. So judges like this, Miere, he deserves to go to jail. All judges and magistrates supporting the political killing of Australians in government facilities and in the community and all the government workers all deserve to go to jail. And they all deserve to go to jail because they're also wasting millions of dollars of public money trying to destroy the lives of people like me for nothing, because I won't give them money. Why would I give money to murderers, torturers, thieves, rapists, pedophiles, cheats? Of course, I'm taking a political and economic stand for the benefit of their tens of thousands of dead and living victims and all the poor people that they just round up and lock up in government facilities. And recently the Liberals in WA announced that they're going to do a job program for WA prisoners when they're released. Well, they stole that idea from me because I have broadcast that idea 4 times in 4 separate videos beginning about a year ago. So they're nothing more than thieves, and when I get the article I'll prove that they've stolen the idea from me. It's not their idea. They've killed people, thousands of people for years through the political made law like the Fines Act, the Fines 1994 Act, which needs to be abolished. And there's psychiatric bills, state laws, which need to be, and acts, they need to be abolished. They're using the parliament to kill, torture, steal and destroy people's lives, deprive people of liberty, and they've been doing it for years. The recent psychiatric bill they've brought in Western Australia is even worse. It targets children. So not only can they do this to adults, they can do it to your children. Take your children off you without your permission, sterilise them, give them ECT, psychosurgery, violent, dangerous, murderous, forced chemical compounds, injections, and pills, probably sexually abuse them, and they can lock them up. Your children. They've got target children in that new psychiatric act in WA. They target Aboriginal people, and they have a specific provision for the use of the police, which proves that it's Nazism. The police use psychiatry in violent manners. It's Nazism. The politicians use psychiatry. The psychiatrists use the police. Those three, the politicians, the psychs and the police, who are supporting them, deserve to be locked up in a big government facility and have all those treatments subjected to you by your victims to prove that it's murderous and torturous, and you'll end up dead. And you deserve it. You should be locked up in a big facility and forcibly given forced injections of chemical compounds, which is what you're giving to your victims. Steal all your money and assets on the public with the public trust. Put your money and assets with the public trust, or your bank accounts, control of your bank accounts. Or your victims should steal all your money and assets and force you to live on $70 a week while you're dribbling in the corner being tortured, because that's what it is. It's absolutely horrific. It's been going on for more than 100 years in Australia, and throughout the world it's 200 years of politically approved and funded murder, torture, theft, slavery, massive human rights abuses, just using the parliaments to kill, steal, destroy, torture, defaming all their victims while they're murdering them, and, you know, subjective labels. It's a political and sociological practice to kill, torture, steal, lie, cheat and destroy people's lives. And the Nazis carried out the genocidal policies of the Nazis with psychiatrists primarily in the concentration camps. So what they're operating in Australia is the same. They're like concentration camps. The prisons are not full of murderers, rapists and pedophiles. They're full of poor people who they've rounded up and killed them. And I know people that, the lady that they're torturing, Sorensen, my friend April Sorensen, is from Mongolia. She's got a Master of Human Resource Management from Curtin University. They stole her child. They tortured her, locked her up. They locked her up in the, tortured her with psychiatry. The police did it. They locked her up for money, fines, which she was paying off, like tens of thousands of other people. And they locked her up in the Franklin Centre for 30 days for the fines, the police did, and then the Fines Enforcement Registry would not take the amount off. Now that is a true case, and she's trying to go back to the Supreme Court. She went to the Supreme Court under Commissioner Slight. She won her case, and since then they have stolen her child again. This is the child protection Nazis. We're not child protection, they are really evil, violent people, stealing people's children all over the country for nothing or very minor reasons. They tortured her, they locked her up for 30 days and forcibly drugged her, and the psych involved Beer from Subiaco trying to forcibly drug her. Again, I went to a meeting with her, with him. He's a Nazi. These people, all of these psychiatrists, they need to be locked up, and the politicians. And I say about 1,000 government workers in WA alone who need to be jailed, and all the poor people need to be let out of these facilities. So all the government people would be, all of the politicians, that's about 100, all the psychiatrists, that's probably, I don't know, 200 or 300 perhaps in Western Australia. Then you've got the senior management of the police, they all need to be jailed, as well as the police commissioner. He deserves to be jailed because he's been in that position for more than 10 years doing this with the politicians and the psychs. And the senior management of the Fines Enforcement Registry, they all need to be jailed. The senior management of Sheriff's Office, they all need to be jailed. All the magistrates and judges supporting this, which is most of them, deserve to be jailed, including the SAT, particularly the SAT judges. They all deserve to be jailed because that's the court the psychs are using to kill and steal and torture their victims. And so most of the magistrates are supporting it in the lower court. They all deserve to be jailed, and we need a new form of judiciary. We need a complete judicial reform with what I want to see is panels of judicial officers. So there's no magistrates, no judges, judicial officers of 3 with lawyers and citizens. So there's a decision on 3. 2 out of 3 will give a decision, not one person. And all of these judges and magistrates, they need to be sacked. Most of them need to go to jail for this, all this killing of these people and torture of these people. The senior management of the Sheriff's Office, Fines Enforcement Registry, the police, the magistrates and the judges need to go to prison, the psychiatrists and the politicians. Have I left anybody out of that? well, that's the management, but then there are thousands of other government workers making a living off this murderous, torturous practice, and they all deserve to be sacked. Well, it will save the public billions of dollars. It will save the public billions of dollars. All the prison officers and the, you know, there's reports of prison men, officers, men raping Australian women in Australian prisons. There's evidence of that. Ray Hadley, Channel 9, did a documentary called Inside, and there was testimonies in there. I also worked in the prison system in WA for a year between 2006 and 2007. I saw myself the human rights abuses and people jailed, a lot of thousands of poor people, particularly the women. They're for nothing or such minor reasons. They should be in the community and they should be given jobs and housing. And they're being tortured. They're being forcibly drugged as well. Probably about 80% of the women there should definitely not be there. So it's like an industry. It's these politicians and government workers, senior government men mostly, they are psychotic, evil, satanic monsters obsessed with locking people up for nothing or minor reasons and destroying people's lives. They've just about destroyed my life. I can't work effectively in Australia. I'm going to keep contesting political elections. I might do further studies. I've got, you know, I don't really need to work in a sense, but the thing is, these people are just there to destroy my life politically for political reasons, to stop me contesting political elections, to stop me having a voice, and other people who are speaking out. That's what they do. They just will waste millions of dollars of public money they already have and use violence against me. That's what this Supreme Court Judge Miere is guilty of. Wasting millions of dollars of public money and using violence, along with the magistrate Steven Malley in the lower court and all the other political government men involved, probably about 100 of them, mostly men, political men, and a few women, maybe 50 to 100. They all should be jailed. They should be sacked and jailed. And the prosecutors involved, A. Duggan, you deserve to be sacked, you deserve to be jailed for what you're doing to me. A. Duggan from the police prosecutors, when you ring up the Director of Public Prosecutions, they say they're there to combat serious crime. That's a big fat lie as well, because they're wasting millions of dollars of public money trying to lock me up for nothing because I won't give money to the government. And they can shove your evil, violent, satanic Nazi clam up your corrupt asses, you evil bastards. And the other one is, he deserves to be sacked and go to jail, is M. Finley, F-E-A-R-N-L-E-Y, and M. Finley and A. Duggan, D-U-G-G-A-N. I'll write your names in the description. You deserve to be sacked and to go to jail, both of you. Stephen Malley in the Magistrates Court, Fremantle, deserves to be sacked and go to jail. This Supreme Court Judge Miere, L-E-M-I-E-R-E, deserves to be sacked and put in jail, because they literally have wasted millions of dollars of public money doing to me what they've done, and they're using violence as well. And they would be happy to lock me up. This magistrate was going to have me locked up for 6 months on remand before they're proceeding their Nazi trial, which is a further waste of public money. And he took joy in that. You can read the transcripts, the court transcripts on the lower court, the 3 days, which I have here. There's absolutely, his commentary is disgusting. It's violent and evil, and he's taking pleasure and joy out of doing to me what he's done. That in one hearing, in the first one, he says, "This will be something to look forward to, Sergeant." This is what Steven Malley said to the police prosecutor. "This will be something to look forward to, Sergeant." Now you tell me that's malicious and violent. And he would have had me locked up for 6 months on remand if I hadn't used my voice at the side of the court, and I would not have been able to contest that Senate re-election if he had his way. But I told him who I was. I told them who I was and said, you're going to burn in hell for what you've done to me, and you're wasting millions of dollars of public money, and you're using violence. You know, that they can come to your home with a blacked out Nazi search warrant like that. Adam David Kelly, who was transferred to Wyndham Police Station after he assaulted me at the front of my home, and the other one assaulted me as well, and there's 7 of them there, police officers, and the 5 of them are standing around watching. They're Nazis. So there's no law here. There's no law that lets them do this. There's no law in Western Australia, there's no law in Australia. It's completely unlawful. So they come to your home claiming to uphold the political made law, but they're not. And then I told this Supreme Court judge, I filed 3 written submissions, massive written submissions, and associated documents, 97 documents associated, including this, and he's seen all of this. His judgment does not accurately reflect my written and oral submissions in the Supreme Court. He's a liar, he's dishonest, and he's deliberately done it. One small example is regarding the bail undertakings, his commentary on the bail undertakings. I stated clearly in black and white in writing, I stated clearly in writing in my 3 detailed written submissions that that I only signed those bail undertakings to gain my freedom. That's the only reason why I signed them, and I had no intention whatsoever of showing up to the Fremantle Magistrates Court or giving them any money. So I had no intention, and I stated that clearly to this Supreme Court judge in my written submissions. I'm going to make those written submissions available for public reading, and the written submissions I wrote with the documents associated is about equivalent to a book this size. That's how the depth and breadth of my legal and material argument was with this Supreme Court judge, and this is what he produces, this piddly load of garbage and lies and rubbish. And he should be jailed. He deserves to be jailed along with all the other political government men. They deserve to be jailed. They're satanic, evil monsters. They're murderers, thieves, liars, rapists, pedophiles. They torture the poor, thousands of people in every state and tens of thousands across the nation they've already killed off, plus thousands more that they've tortured and that currently got locked up, who will die if not released into freedom into the community. So they should release the thousands of people, Australian citizens they've got locked up, the poor people, and give them jobs. And they should jail all these political and government men in each state, which is about 1,000 in each state, plus all the federal politicians and the federal political and government men who are guilty as well. They're all guilty. And the public must destroy the Liberal Party, the Labor Party, the Greens and the Nationals, because they're murderers. So you vote for them, you're voting for murderers, thieves, liars, rapists, pedophiles, economically corrupt, torturers. And we must get rid of them. We must destroy those parties. We must get those politicians jailed, and we must destroy those political parties, and we must get those parties deregistered forever. So this can never ever happen again. And this has been building up since the Second World War. Well, it's been going on for more than 100 years, really. Look at the psychiatric facilities. Do you know that Fremantle Arts Centre, more than 100 years ago, at the turn of the last century, the Fremantle Arts Centre was a psychiatric facility. Someone in the public found the research on that and sent it to me. They would have killed people there. They killed people at Greylands, they've killed people in Bentley, they've killed every psychiatric facility they've killed. Collectively, it's in the thousands. In Western Australia, I would conjecture it's about 25,000 West Australians that they've killed in the past 50 years. It's more if you look at between 50 and 100 years, and that includes the suicide, some of the suicide. They drive their victims to suicide for sure, and the leading cause of death in Australia is suicide for 4 decades, and the reason why it is because most of it is political and government driven suicide. It's the government that drives Australian citizens to suicide, and their facilities, and when they get out of their facilities they kill themselves. And all their treatments say that they increase the risk of suicide. So they're killing them with their treatments. And that's been going on for over 100 years in Australia. Look at one of the facilities, Heathcote. They killed hundreds of people out there, and then they closed the facility. In the past, they would kill people in these facilities, and the deaths would build up, and then they would close the facility. But now, they don't close the facility, they just employ more and more people to kill and torture and steal through the public trust and lie and defame their victims, and the violence and the corruption and the death just goes on and on. It's just a murderous nation we live in. Australia has become, the politicians and the government workers have created a very cruel, violent, cruel, torturous, murderous nation. No one will lock up people like me who simply talk about it and refuse to give them money. Well, if you do as much research on it as I have, you would know. You wouldn't give them a cent. You would fight. We have to fight. You're either supporting the murderers or the government murderers, or you're supporting the victims. It's only one of two teams here. We're going to be on the right side of this fight, otherwise you're going to end up in hell. And a lot of these people should end up in jail. So, thanks very much.